Hello, one and all, and welcome to round 12 of the League of Europe Division 2 Championship. We are here today at Monza, the Temple of Speed in Italy. I am Zach. I'm going to help you take through this. Alongside me in the commentary box, as usual, is QVR Verstappen. How are you, Ben?
Hello, everyone, and once again, welcome to Division 2 of LOE here. I'm doing quite well. Looking forward to this, of course. A beautiful track here in Italy. The fastest on the calendar, I believe. Average speed, it's a lot, like 220 kilometers an hour, I want to say, which is just incredible to see. We're gonna see how these 18 drivers on the grid today are gonna take on this 11 corner track.
Yeah, it's of course one of the most iconic tracks on the calendar. I believe it has held around in every single season of the real life Formula 1 Championship. That should tell you how much this track means to the sport. I may have to correct you. I think the average speed's actually closer to about 250, 260 k's an hour. So it's just remarkable speed around here. And qualifying that is, by the way. It's going to make things very, very exciting. You're going to be seeing the highest speeds on the calendar here. Maybe not the absolute most technical track, but of course it's a classic. You can see there, if you get it wrong, nowhere to go. You're watching Iro Packer there heading through Ascari, gravel lining the outside of the track if you make the error. So there is very little room to get it wrong. You've got to be on it there. Nailing a lap can be quite tricky here. We'll see how they get on though. 11 corners around this Monza lap, and Packer is going to start us off there. Take it away, Verstappen. Let's run through this lap.
So he's open up through a Parabolica tight line to get the best run out of last corner. DRS will be open here. We'll be seeing speeds of around 345 kilometers an hour into turn 1. Pick up brake around the 100 meter boards there and out towards the entry of turn 1, apex of turn 2 as well. Up to third to get the traction early down, and he gets a nicely tight line through the Curva Grande, which is easily flat at the moment. 8th gear, and again speeds up to around 325, maybe 330 kilometers an hour coming up to turn 4. Sector 1 split is there as well. Turn 4 and 5, difficult chicane, a bit of oversteer on the exit there, and now further to Lesmos, turning in also 190 kilometers an hour through that corner and up towards Lesmo to turn 7. 5th gear as well, he takes it through it, and now up towards the second DRS straight towards Ascari. Again, speeds around 340 kilometers an hour, I want to say. Coming towards Ascari, 51.8. It looks like a really good lap time so far from Iro Packer. Second part of Ascari, very difficult and easy to lose the car or invalidate your lap time. Now up towards the run, towards Parabolica. And again, speeds, look at them. 330, 332 kilometers an hour. 50 meter board break in, 5th gear, 6th gear, up the traction. Use as much track as you can and cut in to get the tight line towards the line. Iro Packer opens the session with a 1:18.173.
That is a fast opening lap, I can tell you straight away from Iro Packer there. Opening things off with a bang. The two Williams may well be next up around there. Jordy now heading around in the first of the Williams cars. Runs it out right to the edge and invalidates at the death on the lap there. He has to come into the pit, so we'll turn to his teammate Rick now. Championship leader comes through, but he's a little way off there, about 6/10 shy of Packer's mark. So maybe not the best lap from him there. Nico now coming through, does a 1:18.5 straight into the middle. Now the time starting to flow there. XL Ryan joins on the provisional front row. Zerma now on the board at 1:18.6. We're seeing a lot of the drivers starting off, opening around about the mid-18s there. Baki, who's been recently demoted from Division 1, now goes onto the front row into P2. But Packer, considerably the fastest of the drivers so far. That's a great way to start the session. We'll see if he can hold on to it though, as we're now about 4 minutes into qualifying. Lots more to see.
And the two Mercedes coming off the line, and I think they're both going into pits. It might be both invalidated, unfortunately. Yep. Let's look through. I think it's Iro Dillon who's on the lap here, coming through the Curva Grande and now towards turn 4.
So here we go now, on to the brakes, into the second chicane at this track. There comes the inside over the curb, and that's going to be an invalidation there. It's so difficult to stay within the track limits through a quali lap here, and we see Iro Dillon getting caught out by that then. So I think another car that is on a flying lap at the moment is Lando in the Renault. Dillon actually out the session, so we hope that he can get back in soon enough. But we'll see now as Lando does a 25.9 first sector, not too bad then. Uses not maybe as much of the curb as you can. You can completely hop over them if you do so wish, but at your own peril, of course. Down to Lesmo 1 there. Fabulous medium speed corners there. You really need to try and push the envelope through here. Push the apex speed, and running out on exit there. The round opens DRS, and you get up to another fantastically high speed there as you head down the hill and up over the rise, heading into Ascari there. One of the most famous and iconic corners on the entire Formula 1 calendar. Nice and clean for the Rhino, runs it very close to the white line, just about. Keeps it on though, and then you're building up the speed then. At the moment, the fastest lap is still by Packer, and it's by a margin of over 0.3 of a second. Very, very impressive then, as Lando a little bit of a left there, trying to get it back. Collected, and now back towards the line. He's going to keep going with the lap. Where does it go? It's going to be P8 on a 1:18.6. The midfield is incredibly close, but our leader, very isolated. Packer still leads. Can anyone get up to that time, as we're now about a third of the way through this quali session?
It's a bit of a quiet period in this session, but I think Exo Gary's about to start his lap. Also recently demoted from Division 1. Let's see how can he do. He did decently in Belgium up until there was a bit of a crash up ahead, and he couldn't avoid it, unfortunately for him. But let's see if he can get a better result today, as he's opening up towards turn 1. Again, look at the speed of this AlphaTauri now towards turn 1, 100 meter. Yes, he will. Second gear, bit of a lock up on the front right, and now towards turn 2. Nice on the exit, a bit wide maybe. Let's see how he goes on towards the sector 1 splits. For the Curva Grande, again taking a tight line, as that is the fastest way round there. Now braking 25.9. It's quite average from what we've seen. Now fourth gear through the second chicane. Bit of oversteer, but keeps it nice and tight there. Towards Lesmo 1, fifth gear, looks very stable from the Irishman. And now down towards Lesmo 2, again, very stable, very neat lap from the Irishman at the moment. DRS is open once again, 8th gear, and I wrote Dylan has left the session again, I hope he can make it back. Meantime, 50 to 2, that's 4/10 off back if I'm correct. So let's see, coming for Ascari, nice line through it. Ascari there from the Irishman, and now towards Parabolica. Let's see if he can get himself up the boards and
so here we go now.
Boards.
Oh, sorry.
Open up the throttle. Let's see, can he make this work across the line? Exo Gary 184 puts him into P2, just ahead of Baki.
Barely pips Baki in that fight over second place. We'll see if that changes hands at all. We also have MMA Slash now heading for the line. Is he going to dive for the pit lane? No, he's going to keep on going there. Where does the Alfa Romeo go? It is to the top. Wow! Into the 17s for MMA Slash. I was wondering if we'd see a 17 throughout this session, and my oh my, a potential championship contender has answered that question emphatically. 10 minutes to go, and the top time for Packer has been taken apart. MMA Slash 17.9. I was not expecting that at this point in the session there. Huge lap from Slash. Can he hold on to it though, as we reach the halfway point now in this session?
Meantime, you have Rick Kurek coming up to Ascari, so let's see what he can do.
So he is just up at his time, maybe not quite showing the pace that we normally see from Rick. Can he push the envelope though? Going through Ascari there, clips the curb on the inside there. It's a nice and clean run, but we'll see if that can translate to anything then as you head for Parabolica, one of the more iconic circuits on the calendar again. He's over 330 k's an hour, onto the brakes again. Takes it in fourth gear to try and rotate the car. We're up towards the green AstroTurf on the outside, and now to the line, but he's backed out of it there. He must not have been improving. Flies into the pit lane. Rick does not improve. The championship leader may well be in trouble here.
Meantime, we have QFR Nico up to the line. Let's see what the Red Bull driver can do. 1:18.3 puts him up to P3. Decent lap time.
So yeah, the Red Bull also beginning to move up through the order. We also have Baki, who's nearing the end of a flying lap then. We'll see how that unfolds. We also have a Mercedes coming up to the line, and that's Nemo Luigi, goes 7th. Baki though, he was second earlier on, goes back up to second and backs up his teammate, the Alfa Romeos, storming to the top of the timesheets at the moment. We'll see if they're able to stay there, but at the moment, Slash and Baki are front row. Very intriguing prospect there. Two Alfa Romeos, we've seen the pace that they've shown throughout the season. We'll see if they can keep it going. Hardy now comes through the line, goes up to 7th, but those two Alphas setting it up the top of the timesheets, that could be intriguing. We'll see if they can hold on to it though.
Meantime, Scuderia Sepp has gone to 4th, and Maledictus is just over the line. He's gone to 5th, and they're showing good laps there as well. Of course, Maledictus is not having the greatest season so far, but hoping to be chasing that, and he looks to be doing decent laps for now. So hope he can make that work.
We'll see now if he's able to turn things around. We have seen him show pretty impressive pace at times throughout the season, but it hasn't quite translated into results. We'll see if that is any different this time around. I don't think anyone is too far along the flying lap. I am trying to look for drivers there. I found Lando. He is on a flyer at the moment and is up in the first sector. I'll keep an eye out on the Renault unless you find anyone that's a little bit further along. Do you have anyone in mind?
XL Tinkan is coming through Lesmo 2 now. So let's see what he can do. He's not at a lap time yet, so let's see if he can match himself with the others in the midfield, where we usually see Tinkan around. And let's see if 52.6 doesn't look too quick so far, but maybe he can change something in the last sector. Looks very tight, bit of oversteer through the last part of Ascari. You could just see how vital that is. If you just get it wrong. And he got it slightly wrong, and he just about caught it. Let's see, for Parabolica, is he going to be able to improve?
Runs it out wide on the exit. The last sector, for the most part, has looked pretty decent. Here comes Tinkan then, comes through the bar. I think the first two sectors have cost him, yes. It's only at 16th position for the moment there. Lando bails out at the lap. He's going to go into the pit lane. Dylan, I think, may well be next up. Come over the line. Championship contender needs to be good. It's 10th place. It is very close, and he can find time with some small improvements, but maybe not quite where he would have hoped to be. But he is actually in front of Rick, who hasn't been able to really say anything too competitive at this point, but he is approaching the start of a flying lap. I believe we'll see how the championship leader gets on there. I think he's going to be the only driver at the moment that's actually on the lap there. Maybe it'll be XL Gary actually. I'll keep an eye out there. He's just behind him on the lap himself, so we'll look for Rick then as he heads through the Retifilio and on to the exit then. Is going to power out, getting up the gears there, getting up into top gear. Probably more time you spend in 8th gear at any track on the calendar. We'll see now where Rick is able to put himself there. First sector time is very, very quick. A 25.7 is flying. We'll see if he can try and make the most of it there. Hops over the curbs, going through De La Roja now into Lesmo 1 there. Keeps it nice and clean on the inside. Run it out onto the outside, and it's looking on rails at the moment. Can the Willies, man, keep this going? Runs out wide on the exit of Lesmo 2. DRS is now activated, and he can now head up for Ascari. Probably the most difficult corner, second section of corners on the track. He is quicker, but he's a few tenths off of what we saw from some of the top drivers. Can he find more time though at the end, or he may well have a slight slipstream for the Red Bull up in front? I don't think the effect's going to be anything significant though. He is a few seconds behind, so now we come through for Parabolica. Get onto those brakes, run it out wide, then on the exit, got to try and get on the throttle as early as you can. Where does Rick come through then? Is going to the time now ticking down. Where did he put himself? It's in the top 5. That is much better from Rick. Exactly the region where he needs to be in, but really that pace from Slash looks so intimidating for the rest of the drivers. He's still 2 tenths up on anyone else, but with just under 5 minutes to go, can anyone challenge that top time?
We've seen XL Gary just gone up to 4th, so that's a good lap time for him. Jory heads into the pits in the meantime, so he's starting his lap, so he won't be doing anything at the moment either. I think it's Zuidermaat coming for the last corner, so let's see if he can do something. Tight line for the last corner, up towards the line of McLaren. Let's see what he can do. 118.2, that's a good lap time, P4.
And we've seen him struggling qualifying so far this season, so that's very encouraging for Zuidermaat to put himself at the moment up on that second row. We'll see if that holds though. Looking for more drivers. I think Nico may well be the furthest along on a flying lap. It's a 51.9 to the second sector. That's one of the fastest times that we have seen. So the QVR driver in the Red Bull may well be able to make most of this. Now, here we go now for Parabolica yet again. Getting up to over 330 k's an hour and then onto the brakes immediately. Uses a lot of room on the track to open it up. It runs onto the car on the inside, then back up to the outside. Again, a tight run to the line. Where does QVR Nico? This could be top 3. Let's see. It is going to be top 3. Just fractionally ahead of Packer and just fractionally behind Baki. That region of the field is incredibly close, but Nico also moving into the mix there. 118.1 is the closest challenger so far to that Alfa Romeo pairing, but they're also now on laps of their own. Slash has bailed out one, but Baki's still pushing. Heading round Parabolica now, up to the line. Where does the pole go? No, he must have been down. He has bailed out and headed for pit lane then. So does Neil Luigi in behind. So a couple of drivers now getting out of laps. I think Scuderia Seb may well be far along one though is also going to come in. So drivers maybe just making mistakes in their laps, having to reset, and we'll see where they can go there. 3 minutes to go in the session, but MMA Slash still on pole at the moment.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anyone really nearing the end of their laps. Mr. Skyzy is on one. He's coming through the first sector, so he may be one to look out for as he's coming through towards Lesmo 1.
Getting onto that inside curb there. You got to try and use as much of the track as you can. It's a fantastic sequence of corners there. Lesmo 2 running out and power out then. Try and take the tightest possible line, the shortest path down towards the Sky. We'll see where Skyzy, currently down in 13th, is able to put himself there. It's a decent first second sectors, but can he pull it all together? Going through a Sky there, he's feathering the throttle through the second part, and now gets on the exit. It was nice and clean from Skyzy, but how much is that going to serve him? It is close, just in front of him, and if he can just find the minute improvements, heading into Parabolica now, hooks it up towards the inside curb, now runs it out again, onto the exit. Where does the Mercedes man go there? The Frenchman is continuing there. He will get up to the line, but only 10th place. He was 2/10 up on his lap, but it is so competitive, so close, and really, well, there is such a high standard as we often see. These drivers are going to have to be on it. We're now in a bit of a transition point in the period. Everyone gearing up for their final runs here at Monza, and we're going to get the answer to who is going to end this session on pole position. Let's find out later.
It's going to have to be a real task to beat MMA Slash. He's had an amazing lap on the boards, but there's a few drivers who may be able to challenge that, such as Paco, who's shown incredible pace, doing that 18-1 on his first lap as well. And someone, of course, like Dylan, you can't rule out. And who knows else who's in that. I think the next one to start this lap is Excel Tinkan. It's coming through Parabolica.
I'll leave you to take us through this actually then, Verstappen. So run us through this lap there. Let's see where Tin Can is able to put himself. 17th at the moment.
Let's see the Racing Point opening up the DRS, and let's see where he comes out. There's a Red Bull up ahead. I think he'll go out the way quite soon enough, so that'll be no issue. Breaking at the 100 meter bit board. Sorry there. Coming across turn 1 and 2. Open up the throttle in second gear quite nicely. Done by the Racing Points, and outside line for Curve. We're going out, as I mentioned before. Fastest way round there, 325 kilometers an hour up towards turn 4. 25 nice, 2.5 tenths up, looking decent for the Racing Point. Fourth gear on the exit. Let's see towards Lesmo 1 if he can take this quite nicely. Holds in 6th before shifting down to 5th, and just about runs a bit wide and has to conserve a bit there. 5th gear, and now open up the throttle for the second DRS straight up towards the Ascari, which is a very tough, beautiful at the same time. Chicane 52.4, 2 tenths up still. Goes the first part a little bit, but keeps his balance. To the exits, he does it nicely, a little bit of oversteer, but it's just about fine. See where he can put himself, the Racing Points, as Skyzy has retired in the pits. He's not got enough time. Towards Parabolica, look how the Racing Point goes. 5th gear, now open up 6th, across the line, 10 seconds remaining in the session. Let's see the Racing Points puts himself on a 118.7, just about behind Lando, only good for 17th.
And Packer now coming through to the line. Is it P2? Yes, it is. It's not far off Slash this time, only about half a tenth, but it won't quite matter. But he is still there. Rick doesn't improve. He will start no higher than 8th position on the grid then. XL Gary now coming through and goes up to 3rd, just behind Packer. So he's also beginning to back up there. We're going to see the times flooding in now, so stay tuned there. We now have MMA Slash. He's already quickest, and he's going even quicker through the first 2 sectors there. Slash comes through, and it's an emphatic improvement. A 1:17.8. My oh my, he's in a world of his own here tonight. Melodecus, I think, will be next to cross the line. He goes up to 6th there at 1:18.1. Solid lap. We then have Zerova coming through there. He has 2 tenths up, and he goes up to 4th yet again then, just behind Gary. Next up is a Williams. It's going to be Jordy, who hasn't set a time, goes into the top 10 at 1:18.2. They are now flying in now. Hardy, I don't think, has improved significantly. And then who's going to be next up to cross the line? Scuderia Seb is coming through. Baki comes through, doesn't improve. Scuderia Seb does go up to 5th actually, so Baki is being shuffled down the order there. Lando comes through just outside that top 10. We then have, I think it's Dylan. No, Dylan does not improve, so he wasn't able to find that time. It's just the Racing Points left, I think. Tin Can will not be able to set a competitive time in Ryan into the pit lane, which will bring an end to this qualifying session. And the real story, MMA Slash. Wow, what pace are we seeing from the Alpha? 2.5 tenths clear around a track like Monza that's only got 11 corners. That's remarkable speed from Slash. Game on for the race. I think the Alpha could really be on to a winner here. We'll see though. 27 laps ahead of us come the race.
Yeah, an amazing lap time, demanding dominant pole from the Alfa Romeo, and it's just insane to see. I think the gap between the rest of the field was about 7 tenths, but he just takes 2.5 tenths out of that even. If you look at Packer, who's on 18 flats, and Tinkan, who's on 18.7, that's less than 7 tenths, so that's quite amazing to see. Anyway, I'll take you through the grid as we have MMA, Slash, and Packer on the front row. Then the two XL boys of Gary and Zuidema on 3rd and 4th. Scuderia Sepp and Baki 5th and 6th place. QVR, Nico and QVR Maledictus make for an all QVR 4th row. Then we have the two Williams on the row 5th with Jordy ahead of Rick. And then for free types of choice we have Lando, Sky Easy, Hardy, Ryan, Dylan, Niwaluigi, Spack, and Tinkan rounding off the grid with 18 drivers today.
Yeah, we have a decent turnout, and everyone got a good lap in, actually, in the end, for qualifying. So yeah, that was a very entertaining session, and hopefully the race will top even that. Now, we'll see, of course, what the conditions have in store for us there. It can definitely rain at Monza. We've not seen too much of that this season, but at points, certainly. And it is looking like light rain. Wow, that throws up a real dynamic for the race. Intermediate conditions for sure then. So we'll see how that all unfolds. So yeah, what this means, everyone's going to have free choice of tyres. That negates the advantage the guys outside the top 10 have. And we'll see how particularly MMA Slash is able to deal with this, because pace in the dry doesn't always equate to pace in the wet conditions later on.
Yeah, definitely. And some people could have gone for some adjusted setups maybe to help the car perform better in the wet conditions. So it's quite unpredictable to see, and some may have compromised to get an advantage in this race.
Yes, some more than others, but the lap times were very, very impressive across the whole field. Pretty much what I'd expect from D2. So I'm thinking maybe that this rain may not be on for too long. I have a gut feeling it may well go dry relatively soon. Of course, all these drivers getting forced onto intermediates by the game, but we'll see what strategy call they make. Everyone on enters, of course. So we'll see now how that shapes it up then. These drivers have just done 18 minutes of running in complete dry conditions, so adapting to the wets with race fuel, it can really make a difference. And of course, some drivers are inevitably going to adapt better than others. So we'll see who's going to fare better coming through now, because what you saw in qualifying is surely not going to translate to the race.
No, almost definitely not going to translate. And it's going to be interesting to see when it's going to dry up, if it's going to dry up, or maybe if it gets wetter, because that's still an option, of course, if it goes to full wet. And how these drivers negotiate around the track in, well, wet conditions, because it's quite a hard track, I reckon, with the high curves as well. It's easy to spin out on them.
Yeah, and also you also can't forget the first chicane on the lap, very, very low speed, one of the slowest corners on the entire calendar. It's going to be very, very difficult to grab traction out of that corner then. You're going to have to do a lot of short shifting, a lot of playing with the throttle, and that's one of the things that these guys are going to have to put up with. But we'll see what the strategy calls are going to be for the drivers then. Is anyone going to go for anything too risky? But yeah, at the moment, Slash, he's just leading the way out there, going to guide them round. Don't think there's been any major dramas on the formation lap, at least. You can see there on the AWS graphic. Looks like the fastest strategy on the enters, assuming a full intermediate race, is going to be a one stop. There are two stops also to be considered. I'll come to you quickly, Verstappen. Who's your top three for this race? Going to be very unpredictable, but who have you got?
It's going to be indeed very unpredictable, but I'm going to go with Packer for the win.
Okay.
I'm going to say Baki in second, and Slash is going to be third.
Okay, thank you for that, Verstappen. We'll see, of course, if that comes to fruition. Usually commentators are terrible at predicting, so don't take that too literally. We will see, of course, how everything unfolds as we head into the race then. 18 drivers begin to take their places on the starting grid, headed up by Slash and by Packer. They're going to be your front row, and they will probably be some of them leading contenders heading for turn one. But of course, anything can change. We've got to keep a close eye out for who's making the best starts, particularly further back through the field. It is a long run down towards turn one, so anything can happen. Anything can happen in Grand Prix racing, and it usually does. Let's see how this is going to unfold then. Ahead of the race, here we go. We're gearing up for it now. We have 3, 4, 5 lights. And we are away for the Italian Grand Prix then. Off the front row, who's got the best start? Packer looks like he got good traction in the second phase of the start, but ultimately is not quite able to challenge Slash, who maintains the lead. Is behind though. It is getting very, very tight in there. Zenuma's been a great start. He's down the inside. Gary breaking very, very late. Goes right into the turn 1, into the turn 2, trying to grab that second place. Gets squeezed out on the exit by Packer. He gets in front of Zenuma though. From the back down the field, though, it's going to be a set. Battling away with Backy back there. You can see more side-by-side action further back, as well as the old duel away then. Further back, closest battle on track looks to be between Skyzy. Actually moved through. Jordy's got a bit slow, and now Nico down the inside on Skyzy. You can see them all battling away, heading for De La Rocha. Who's going to come out on top of this one? Jordy, Maledictus. Oh, wheel to move further back. Not a good start for Maledictus at all with the Ferrari. He's lost places. Dylan's lost places coming out. De La Rocha right outside of it goes Hardy, and right outside goes Spag. So championship contender Iro Dallin has had a disastrous start here in this Italian Grand Prix. He has got wing damage as well. He may have to pit, and for a man that's had such success in this season, Dylan's had a disaster here to open things off. He's got a lot of room now to try and recover.
Definitely gonna have a lot of room to improve in. Well, let's see if he can fare with that and maybe get his wing fixed, or he's going to continue on if it's not that bad. Meanwhile, we have Backy close to the back of Scuderia Sepp. Gonna note towards Parabolica. He's not going to be close enough for a move, however. He has a little look. Backs out of it though, and now we'll try it on the exit path. Slash is still leading in front of Packer. Top 6 has stayed the same. So that is looking good. Let's see if there's anyone with great starts. Rick and Skies have got great starts. So 7 and 8 for them. So time is do mess up a bit.
Here goes Backy
onto the back of. Yeah, Randy outside. He's going to try it into turn 1. Brakes a little later than Scuderia Sepp and looks to be having this for turn 2. And yes, he is past the Polishman as he has a bit of oversteer. So Scuderia Sepp is not out of it just yet. And he's used his overtake to try and capitalize on the Alfa Romeo messing up. Backy started the overtake off, and now Scuderia Sepp is going to try and hang it around the outside of 4. Not late enough on the brakes, and Backy maintains P5. Then this is the timing sort itself out just about now.
Yeah, good move for Backy then. He looks quick early on. We'll see if he can try and make up for an underwhelming qualifying, given the fact that he was looking more impressive throughout then. So winners and losers off the start then. As you mentioned, Rick and Skyzy made excellent starts, up 3 and 4 positions respectively, and they're on the charge. We'll see if they can make the most of it. Rick is certainly beginning to hone in on Scuderia Sepp up the road, and Scuderia Sepp, of course, has lost 1 position on this lap. He'll be desperate not to lose another. Up at the front, Slash has maintained the race lead there. Packer going with him. Gary struggling a little bit to live with it. And Zenuma, his ex-cellmate, is actually starting to try put pressure on. Actually, a little bit of a timing glitch. You're saying the gap's 3/10, but it is certainly bigger than that. Dylan a penalty early on. His race has gone almost, couldn't have gone worse possibly. Further back down the field though, Jordy, no, that's again a timing glitch there. I thought he was side by side with Nico, but of course not to be the case. So over the line then, Slash leads the way. Packer trying to live with him, but Gary is the one that's struggling a little bit to stay with this pace that's being set by the top 2. We'll see if he can try and get back into the game. There's not been any pit stops early on, so I'm assuming that the intermediate conditions are holding out for the time being. We'll keep an eye out, see if the level of rain does begin to drop off, but certainly the battle for the front looks very intriguing. Slash qualified our pole position so emphatically, but so far he's not been able to break away. Packer still keeping him honest though, 2.5 laps in.
In the meantime, we got to see a look at Jordy as he's down the inside of Nico down towards turn 4. And let's see, can he brake late enough? He is a bit late on the brakes, and Nico has to hop across to leave his space. And this Mala is just on the side of him. Does he have damage? I didn't see what really happened. Does look like his left end plate seems to be going. Yeah, he is losing some of that front wing, and that's really unfortunate to see from him.
Yeah, Mala getting caught up in another incident there that wasn't directly his fault really. Jordy's back on the back of him. Lando took full advantage of that. He's up 2 places, in this race, so he is really trying to make the most of that out there. But yeah, both Maledictus and Jordy really suffering and falling back. Further up the field, Backy is continuing his offences. Now, crawling up to the back of Zenuma, another penalty for Dylan. What on earth is going on down there at the Red Bull? Really struggling against the Dutchman. We'll see if he can try and get it together now. Looking at that battle over 4th place, overtaking difficult in the wet with no DRS, but Backy's going to try and make this work there. Slash fastest lap trying to break away now from Packer up at the front there, and that fastest lap's going to hold, but look at Backy, he's trying to get up to him. Zenuma using DRS in his defence. Mala does come into the pit lane, so he's bailed out of that one. He's going to get a new set of tyres on that car, and so does Tin Can come in as well, so maybe a mistake from the Racing Point, or are they going for different strategies? Look at the tyre choices. Mala onto mediums then, and soft tires going on tin can. Now this is intriguing. We've got to try and track their progress, because maybe, just maybe, these slick tires may just about be quicker in these conditions. It's very light rain, and we can see now two drivers that have had less than optimal starts to their races. If this strategy works, they could really come into their own here.
Yeah, Tin Can hasn't changed his front wing, so he is actually just going for that strategy and trying to make this work. Just quite interesting to see. He's on soft, so the soft will fare a little
DRS
bit better,
enabled.
I reckon. That's a DRS enabled, and this may have your gut feeling of right, because it looks to be drying up a little bit. And let's see if Tin can make this work. And Maledictus as well, of course, with soft will fare a bit better, as I was about to say. Yes, Rick is just about into the back of Scuderia Sepp, I just noticed, and he has wing damage. Championship leader has now wing damage, and he'll not be happy with that, and that will not help his race at all.
Yeah, Rick really suffering from that. Now, surely he's going to have to come in. Now, watch the leaders there. Which tyre choices are they going to make? Slash is heading past the pit lane. He isn't going to come in. So, look, watch the rest of these guys. Is anyone going to be brave? Looks like the majority of the front runners are going to stay out and brave it out there. DRS now for Backy, though, as we have two pairs of souls back there. But Backy now, laying out the maneuver on side of a pulls to the inside of the McLaren there. And Scuderia Sepp looking, probing for overtakes as well. But Backy onto the brakes is going to see that one through. He's up another place now. Moving through and now in a fourth and chasing down Gary in third. Now looking for the tyre choices there. I think it will be slicks for everyone that came in there, and softs for the majority. Neil Luigi interestingly going for hards. He's definitely going to try and break that out there. Further back down the field we have Jordy on the attack again. Round the outside the same next to Run, they come together going through Curva Grande, and both of them spear off to the side. Ryan hit the wall. Jordy went into the gravel. My was going back there. Scuderia Sepp's got past Zerba as well, but contact as they both tried to lean in on each other there. I think Jordy may have initiated that. I may be mistaken though. It's a little bit of a blur as to what actually happened there, but Ryan and Jordy coming together. Another incident Jordy's involved in. They're really dropping it back. Dylan's now going to move past Ryan, who surely has wing damage now. That's disaster for both drivers now, and they're going to have to do a lot of work to try and get back into this race now.
Yeah, definitely. Meanwhile, we have on the sub runners, we have Rick on to the back of Tin Can. He's looking quite feisty a bit towards Les Matu. He can't do anything for now, and he has to stick in behind. Let's see up front if anyone's gonna make the gamble to pits. Is Slash is gonna pit. He has a bit of struggle on the exit of Parabolica.
Staying out.
And he seems to be staying out. Backer staying out.
Gary coming
is
in.
At the pits.
So Gary now
Backy
into the pit lane.
out.
Yeah, so I think this may well be the right call.
Sepp is in.
Yeah, so Scuderia Sepp and Gary coming in. I think this may well be a good call. We will see, of course, how it all unfolds. But pit stops for all these for these two, and also Hardy and Dylan. They're all coming into the pit lane. Medium tires going on Gary's car. Closest battle on track is between Rick and Tin Can. Rick, of course, had to change that front wing after he made that contact with Scuderia Sepp. As now I think Dylan's being held up in the pit lane now. I'm looking to see the order shaking up, and I'll run through the. Skyzy has come through, and yeah, that undercut has worked beautifully for Skyzy, getting through. That must mean this is the right strategy, and Skyzy could be onto a blinder here. He's about 19 seconds shy of Lando, but at the moment he can make it through. Now Rick has got through a Tin Can, so he's now the second car on the soft tires, and Spag as well is chasing down Tin Can out there as well, who did gain track position from that strategy, but Spag is looking to try and rectify that, and he's getting up onto the back of Tin Can now, goes to the outside for Curva Grande, and then the inside for Della Rogia. The Ferrari draws alongside the Racing Point. They almost touched twice, going on the braking, but Spag is getting it to move done, and he's up into 11th place. But I'm not sure if the guys that stayed out on inters have made the right call. It's a cautious approach, and they will have fresher tyres, but I'm not sure. It's completely dry now. The rain has stopped entirely. Surely they're going to have to come into the pit lane, but I think Skyzy may well have a shot at the race lead here.
It does look like that, and well, Slash is going in, Packer's going in. Backy's going to have to probably double stack or stay out another lap. He's staying out another lap. So he's gambling on it being fine for one more lap. Sideman, Nico, and Lando. And Lando come close to the back of Nico, just about, I think, avoiding wing damages. Jordy is rushing through Nemo Luigi and Maledictus I've just seen. Slash is onto hards, Packer on mediums. There's some variations of tyre choices, of course. You've got to see. Lando's on soft, so that's one to look out for. And let's see, where's Skyzy? Send the fast lap of the race, 126.3, that's way faster than we've seen. He's Piles Packer, he is not far off Slash, and on the stops he'll be gaining quite quickly. He definitely has a chance here.
The track, there is still a tiny bit of water on the track then, so Skyzy will have an even bigger advantage, and he has the tyres up to temperature, so we'll see now if he can try and challenge MMA Slash for what is the net race lead. Baki has been very unfortunate out there. He's the last car stuck on those enters. He had such a good charge through, made the overtakes and got into contention, and it looks like he may well have to do it all again. Now, one thing that's so intriguing, these strategy calls, I don't think could have been much more mixed, and I think that do you think that the hard tyres may well be the best strategy here? Maledictus does move past Neo Luigi back there, heading into Del Roggia, move done, but Skyzy is going to have so much more grip, and surely he's going for the move already there. He's going to draw like alongside Slash towards the scar. He gets the move done immediately there. He charges through, but will the guys on the softs and possibly the mediums as well be able to make work? There's Lando's going off there. I think that's how Lesbo too.
He is retired from the session. Doesn't look like any safety car whatsoever is coming. But yeah, Baki this lap as virtual safety car.
Baki!
So this will benefit Baki a lot. Of course, he's been held back a bit by those intermediates. He's lost 2 seconds to Skyzy, I've noticed. But he will benefit from this, and he's going on to the hard set of tires. So he's following his teammate in. Let's see where he comes out in comparison to the other guys. He was, of course, near Gary. So let's see, I think Gary's just going to be past Baki. Yep. So he's not gained a lot, but he'll still be in P5 and maybe make works of this and not be too far behind, as the VSC must be ending quite soon. Tinkan's in, surprisingly, so I don't know if he has wing damage or whatsoever. Maybe he got into contact with Lando, I don't know really what happened. But I think he's going on to the mediums. Okay, I have to see about that, what he's going to try and do. From here onwards, I think the hards can make it. Mediums will be very, very tight. Yeah. For someone like Packer, for example. But they could try and stretch it. Softs, of course, won't make that. That's a no-go, so they'll have to pit again, as the VSC has ended right about now. So we're going to see the cars getting back underway, and Packer's all over Slash at the moment for P2.
He needs to get this done quickly, though. He has pressure tires and he can try and move with Skyzy. Hardy as well in the background has gone through on Nico, but I'm going to watch this battle. I think Slash will hang on to it there. Hardy did get past Nico. They're both on medium, so he's moving through. Wreck on the attack as well. He draws alongside Baki. He has soft tires and Spag as well attacking Scooter ASM. Wreck is through and Spag is through as well. So they both make progress on the softs. It's exactly what those drivers need to do. They need to make the most of this. Now, going to look back on the general consensus of this race, the direction it may be heading in, because what we have drivers on the softs. They are going to make another pit stop regardless of what the circumstances of the rest of the race hours. Assuming no safety cars, the mediums will be very, very tight. They're going to be right on the limit and they're going to have to look after the tires. The hard runners will undoubtedly, barring any other disaster, make it to the end. Spag is now getting alongside Baki and immediately now making the charge. He is getting level with Baki as they head into the break zone for one. Baki has to tuck in the McLaren swapping place as well. Hardy moves through yet again. Going through, Nico's going into the pit lane from those mediums, so he must have got into contact and that's why he was dropping back. So Nico comes in, hard tires will go to the end of the race. So see how that all unfolds. Skyzy still leads the way out there as Slash hanging on to it then. If Slash can hold back the medium runners behind, regardless of if the medium guys can take it to the end of the race, surely they're going to drop off. And Slash, if he can hold on to that lead, that second place rather, potentially the net lead, if he can just hang on up there at the front of that train, then it could make wonders for him as the medium tires will go off towards the end of the race.
Definitely true, as Lana's left the session, but one thing I noticed, Slash has not lost that much time to Skyzy if you, as you maybe expect, although through Ascari he loses about 3/10 there, so that is a bit opposite to what I'm saying here, but yeah, if he's not losing too much time to Skyzy and to the other medium runners, he may be able to make this work as he looks up through Parabolica and Packer's now over him. Gary's not too far away either. 2.5 tenths between Slash and Packer. Skyzy with the fast laps of race. Packer's onto the attack. DRS is open and will go down the inside of the Alfa Romeo. And let's see, this should be a dumb move to halves. And yes, it is. Braking for turn 1. All nice and tidy. Packer up at P2 as Scooter ASM is getting past Baki in the meantime.
And they're both on hard tires, so that's a nice neat move from Scooter ASM, gaining net track position exactly what he needs to be doing. He's now the second highest medium runner, not too far behind Slash, so he may not be out of this just yet. We will see how it all unfolds. Now Packer, critical that he got that move done. Now he can try and focus and clear. Penalty Gary. How's that going to hold him back there? Further back to the field, we have more fighting there. It's Jordy down the inside on Zerima and gets up into that 10th place. He's on soft tires. He needs to try and fly. Get back through this pack as quickly as he can. Now we also have Dylan battling with Neil Luigi, and he gets through. Going through Della Roggi and up in the 13th place there. He's a few seconds off this train, and the championship contender needs to make work of this there. Neil Luigi on the hards may not be able to live with, and we will see, of course, how that all unfolds. One thing that MMA Slash has the advantage of, at the moment still, Packer is definitely pulling away, but he is still maintaining the DRS, and interestingly, Packer seems to be at least as fast as Skyzy on this last lap there. He is matching him for pace, so we'll see now. The mediums do look pretty comfortable on them, and we'll see now if Gary can try and follow through behind the American there. The Irishman will have DRS, but Slash has just held on to it, but I think Gary is going to go in the attack regardless, and this could be very, very close. Aim for turn one. Here we go. Gary looking to the inside there, breaks much later, but can he get it stopped in time? Slash compromised on the outside then. Now Gary gets a much better exit out of two, and no, the traction may well get through in a third place. Yes, Gary up into the podium places there and staying with Packer and staying in that fight. I think the medium tire may well be the best to be on at this point there, but Gary up in the third place. Can he get back up to Packer? He's just outside that DRS train. Gary has been up the front the whole way through, now onto the podium, and he's making work then, and at the moment Skyzy is not pulling away to the extent that we thought he would. 2.3 seconds still to go out to Packer, and the medium runners really look very, very strong at this stage.
They definitely do. As yeah, that was a good move by Gary there. Nice switchback setup, and gotta give him credit for that. He is past Slash. Slash is not away though. He's still 3/4 tenths behind due to the DRS crew. That's other DRS straight as well, of course, but he'll not hold on very long. And Rick is now closing up as well, softs as well, and Spack is not too far either behind. Scuderia set picking up time penalty in the meantime. Just gotta watch out with those.
Yeah, he also has Backy on the back of him, so that may well change hands there. Another penalty for Maledicts. We haven't seen too many in general. I know out of the front runners, Gary definitely has one. I'm not sure about the others. I don't think I've clocked any, at least, just yet. So a close battle on track at the moment is between the second and third highest hard runners, Scuderia Seb and Backy. Of course, we saw Scuderia Seb get through a few laps ago, but Backy is beginning to rein in on him now and keep pressure on that Renault. He is not slipping back, and he is staying in that fight over 7th place, and we'll see the hards will come into their own later on. So if these two can just hang on in there, it could turn around and turn to their favour later on. We'll see if the Alfa Romeo can try and get through on the Renault. MMA Slash is hanging on to Gary just about for the moment, and that DRS is one he needs to defend himself from Rick and Spack, who are closing in behind. The softs don't seem as scarily quick as we expected, and already at this point they'll be starting to go off. Tire wear is considerably higher on those softs. Expect pit stops soon from those guys, and they're going to try and switch up their strategy. So at the moment then, the race just sitting still there. Packer a penalty. Now he won't lose any positions to Gary, but that may well just hold him back from any chance he has of bringing home the race when he's not out of it just yet. So, but Packer is going to have to try and work for a little bit more now with a 3-second penalty. Of course, we may see more penalties amongst the front runners later on. Still closest battle on track is between Scuderia Seb and Backy. Backy is really starting to pile on the pressure as the exit Parabolica there. It's a good exit for both of them, but it may well be enough as Rick hits the pit lane early, so he's bailed out of those tires. Now watch this battle over what is now 6th place there. Scuderia Seb coming towards the inside line, so Backy's opting round the outside. Can he get it done before they reach the braking zone? Backy sweeps through and up into 6th place, reclaims that position from Scuderia Seb, and he backs out of it. Now Jordy in the Williams is beginning to look at the rear end of both of them. He's actually on the overtake straight away there. He's attacking the Renault then. Can he look to the outside for Curva Grande then? He's not going to get much from it, but he is going to find it just about there. Squeeze towards the grass, but Jordy hanging in there now. Onto the brakes. Brakes later, but Scuderia Seb doesn't yield it right inside of De La Rocha, but through goes Jordy. That was incredible driving. They somehow managed to avoid contact. Jordy made the move stick, hung in there, and Scuderia Seb couldn't quite hold it around the outside there. He gave it his all, but Jordy now on softs inevitably gets through. Scuderia Seb 2 places on 1 lap. He's not going to be happy. Can he respond though and get those hard tires back in the fight? Meanwhile, Slash, well, his pace on the hards is pretty impressive, because at the moment Gary can't shake him off at the moment.
Yeah, it's looking quite impressive from the Alfa Romeo at the moment, and maybe that's hard tires, so kind of getting in their rhythm at the moment. Rick is pitting onto mediums, interestingly enough, and he's going towards the end on those tires. Skyzy stays at the moment, although Packer is gaining. And we're going to have to see if maybe Sky will stretch these tires to another set of softs, which is definitely a possibility. But Spag definitely isn't, I reckon. He is going into the pits, and that looks like yellow wall tires for the Ferrari.
So it looks like that may well be the strategy of choice for the majority of the men who were running on the soft tyres. We'll see, of course, how your remaining runners, Jordy and Skyzy, are going to go on that dilemma. But yeah, Spag comes in onto mediums just like Rick does, and Rick is going to be ahead of the Ferrari by some margin actually. Their tin can is going to get almost alongside Spag for the back there. That's going to be very, very tight, but Spag covers it off and maintains 15th. Now he's going to try and get a shift on those fresh mediums, try and get into that fight. But yeah, Jordy now is also getting through on, looking at Backy there as Dylan moves past Neo Luigi, very, very loose on the entry, and that's going to put the Mercedes back in his rear wing, heading for Lesmo 1, but I think that Dylan, the Dutchman, will just about hang on and maintain that 11th place. It runs very wide though, as I say that, out of Lesmo 1, spears off into the grass then. This has been such a nightmare race for Iro. Dylan there, he almost runs into the wall on the exit of Lesmo 2, disaster as Ryan moves past. Dylan has had just such a horrible race. We'll see if he can try and turn his fortunes around. Looking up the front there, Skyzy is going to come into the pit lane, so Skyzy's bailed out on those tyres. I don't think they're going to stretch a soft to soft strategy. I think they're opting for a soft to medium strategy. Jordy though is going to stay out, and he is still attacking Backy out there as well. He may well try and close down that gap. He's got much more over speed on the Alfa Romeo. Is he going to go for a lunge from far back there? He's hunting for that inside line, but is going to think better of it for the time being. And Backy maintaining 4th place then, but for how much longer can he hold that against Jordy? Now is Jordy going to try and do that strategy that you mentioned, medium to medium, soft to soft, sorry, as now he gets onto the back of the Alfa yet again there. Backy is not going to give it up there. He's using over to get his defence, but it's still Jordy searching for that inside line, but again he will just back out of it, think better of it. Backy maintains 4th place there, but this defensive driving he's having to do is costing him. He's now 5 seconds behind his teammate. Surely he can't get back from that position now.
Does look like it. Meanwhile, Rick and Dylan battling for 13th place at the moment. Rick just got past. Dylan is looking back down the inside, not close enough for a move down into turn 4 though. Has to stick him behind.
So yeah, Dylan was on the offensive. These are 2 championship contenders and they're fighting over 13th place. Such an unusual race that we're seeing then, with the strategies that have been thrown wide open, but also these drivers just haven't quite got the most of it. Rick, of course, running into the back of Scuderia 7 has cost him dearly, and now he's going to have to try and get back into the game then as he closes down on XL Ryan, but is going to lift off the throttle, does not want to go for anything too over ambitious. He sits still behind the racing point and probing for overtakes very, very soon. His lap times are his tyres are much fresher. As Jordy gone through pit lane there, we've got yellows back there. I think that's tin can that's going off coming out of Ascari.
Yeah, definitely. It does look like that. And let's see, does he have wing damage? I think his right end plate may be quite a bit damaged as Jordy is into the pits. No virtual safety car, and he's going for the softs actually. So that's one to keep an eye on, got to say.
We'll see if he can try to make the most of that there. Through goes Rick. He breezes past XL Ryan and up into 11th. But yeah, Jordy, ambitious, but I think that's doable. Now, an intriguing one there is the Mercedes now battling away there. Neo Luigi, I think he's going to give that up there. They go through Cover Grande. They are still wheel to wheel. The Mercedes drivers going to war there. But the inside line for Della Roggia is going to be with Skyzy. And yes, he is up into that 9th place there. Of course, fresh, soft tyres, or medium tyres, my apologies, on that Mercedes. He is going to fly, but can he get back up to it? Now, this is something I've been wanting to cover for a little while now. The top 3 have bunched up completely. Packer has leaked a little bit of time now, as Gary all over him, and Slash is staying in it. So now, this is what we were talking about, where these medium tyres will start to wear and the hard tyres will start to come into play. Now, MMA Slash is threatening the top 2. Packer's looking to the pit lane, but no, he doesn't quite go for it. He just was trying to break that slipstream to Gary behind, because Gary is closing in on him, but he's also having to try going the offensive while defending from MMA Slash, the ever-threatening pole setter, who is now just less than a second from the race lead. Remarkable stuff out there. We have more yellow flags down there in sector 3, and I think that's Mala's man, and Mala's going off of a parabolic and immediately dives to the pit lane.
Yeah, definitely 11 lap all medium tyres will be going on softs, I reckon. Not been the greatest race for him. Meanwhile, we have the other Ferrari onto the back of Dylan. Is he going to go for a move down towards turn 1? Don't think he's close enough. Dylan defends quite a bit and has to hang on. Bit of a touch there from Spag onto Dylan. Bit of contact more on the exit. Let's see, is Pack going to go for a move? He has a bit more ERS, but Dylan has enough to defend with, I reckon. And it won't be easy for Spack to actually get through here. Has to stick him behind, unfortunately for him.
Spack just he gets very, very close to the rear wing of the Red Bull, just hangs back there. Look at Slash though, he's so threatening on Gary's rear wing. Gets a bit of an error coming out of Ascari, just leaks that as I say that. But he is hanging on and putting pressure on these top two. I think Gary, if he fights Packer too much, it could really open the door for Slash in behind. So these guys are going to have to play their cards right in that fight. The two McLarens have been slowly charging. Hardy has been drawing ever closer to Scuderia Seb. That battle over 5th and 6th. Hardy, not been the smoothest ride for him so far in this race, but he is starting to make the most of it there, and he is chasing down Scuderia Seb, but he does not have very much ERS to try and use. He's using the absolute last bit to get up to the Renault. Pull to the inside, and it may just see it through there. Hardy on the inside is going to get through. 5th place now for the McLaren driver. Gets it stopped nicely and up in a P5 there. And he also has Backy not too far up the road, so that could change hands. Now, Spag is going to attack Dylan yet again, I think. Again, Dylan using everything he has in ERS to try and hold this 12th position. And Spag looking late to the inside there, just about avoids it. My oh my, that was so close to contact. Spag's throwing everything at it, but he can't quite find the opportunity to get through in this DRS train behind Rick, who's not been able to quite pull away the way he would have hoped for, I think. So Spag's still stuck in there with the fresh tyres, can't quite get through. Big DRS tray up there, as well as the one for the lead. Slash is still attacking Gary, who's trying to stay with Packer. What a fight we have here for P1 out on track.
Definitely look like a good fight at the moment, and let's see how this medium tyres will hang on, or if hang on, I should say, because it will be quite tough for the mediums to go towards the end. I think it's doable, but it's going to require a lot of tyre saving, and I don't think anyone's going to go for the pits here. Gary is engaging his overtake. He's looking for the DRS. Yes, he is. He's coming closer to the Haas. Now towards turn 1. Overtake is enabled. Indecisive 347 km an hour. Down the outside there. The Irishman, can he make the move stick? Bit of a lock up on the front right, but he gets past. Can Packer switch back?
Coming back.
Let's see. He is still alongside. Overtake is engaged for both of them. And Slash is just going to have to see this through, but I think Gary is into the lead for sure now. Packer is not close enough or move back down the inside, and he has to stay behind. Gary into the lead.
Gary claims it with a beautiful move. They're rounding outside of turn 1, and he's got that move done. And the leaders, for the first time, swap positions. Slash was searching, but he couldn't quite find the opportunity to get through. For the back down the field, Jordy has moved past Spag, and he's also attacking Dylan then on the back of the Red Bull again. Dylan using the overtake there. He's being so defensive with that. Can he hold on to that 12th place though? Jordy will have much more grip on the brakes, but he will just think better of it and maintain 13. Dylan another penalty though. He's got so many of those in this race. Jordy again looking to Lisbon 1. Pulls towards the inside. No, just going to think better of that one as well. So he doesn't want to go too over ambitious. Now we look for the race leaders. Packer is the only one out of these top 3 that has a considerable amount of ERS to use to his advantage. Is he going to go immediately and try and get up to Gary? Gary gets a beautiful run coming off Parabolica there. The overtake is in order for Packer. Immediately disposes of it. Gary has used the last of his reserves to make that move and consolidate it, but now he's going to be under pressure surely now in the next few laps there. We have 8 laps to go here in Italy there. It has been a very tense race at the moment there, with all the unique strategies still to play out, and we're still to see how they all affect things there, as Maledictus now out of the session. Must have been a disconnection then, as we also have yellow flags there. I think that's going to be for, is that XL Ryan? No, I think that's Tin Can again going off and out of the race altogether. Actually, I failed to notice that. We're going to turn it quickly to the battle over 11th place, because it's about to hot up down inside. PSC is brought out, and how's that going to affect things? Probably not much. Ryan was just able to stay in front of Iro. Dylan there. Dylan was lining up the move and probably would have got through, but ultimately had to back out of things and sit in behind. So now we're looking back there. Nico is the only one that's actually had the opportunity to come in under VSC. That's why I think this isn't going to change much in the grand scheme of things. Nico is going to try and get up to it, but he's lost a huge amount of time, and I don't see any way back there. He's well over half a lap down. So we're waiting to get back to racing. The top 3 still together. Slash honing in on Packer. What's this allowed, particularly Gary and Slash to do, is save more of the ERS. They're going to be much more potent in this one. They have more than about 10 to 20% to use in their attack and their defense. So they say they're going to make the most of it there. They The race is just about to get back on the way then, as we have about 7 laps to go, and immediately there, Ryan's been jumped there. Jordy has the back up as he gone through, and look at Spag! He's going through all of them! Dead into Ascari! Spag has gone through 2 or 3 places! Wow, that was remarkable! How did he get through there? He must have timed that perfectly after all the hold up for the drivers in front there. Spag takes full advantage through to 11. That came out of nowhere. What a move from Spag!
Yeah, triple overtake for the Ferrari there, which is quite amazing. As Jordy, I think he tried to overtake Ryan and Dylan, but had to let them back through, and this all cost him to bunch up as Dylan is into the pits now. I think he may have got wing damage for Ascari. I think I saw some contact there. But I think, Spag this time that well, just waited for his opportunity, and he got it right, and he's now up at the P11.
So we'll see now if he can try and make most of it, finally out of that train, and we'll see now if he can try and gap that train and move away. Jordy is still threatening though. He has got pace certainly on those soft tyres, but doesn't have the ERS to quite see him move through. Dylan now coming out of the pit lane, but he's a long way off the back of it now. I don't think that your championship contender is going to be able to move through. Rick though is not exactly going to take advantage of this in that fight, but he will still have a considerable championship lead. Hardy though will get some points on him throughout it at the moment. They're Hardy, of course, second in the standings, also making ground. We have yellows back there. I think that's Jordy actually. Jordy's made an error going through out of De La Rosia, trying to pick that car up there, but the Williams certainly, I think, with damage, yep, on that left end plate, and he was looking very threatening to that train ahead, but ultimately hasn't quite come good. Close battle out on track is between Hardy and Scuderia Seb. The hard tyres now surely coming into play, and now Hardy cannot defend this surely, because through goes Scuderia Seb. He is up into that 5th place now, moves up in the world, and now the 3rd highest hard runner. He's stuck with Baki throughout, but has not quite been able to retaliate for the manoeuvre Baki made on him. Those guys have been slowly slipping back from the lead trio, who are now isolated up in the front. But I know out of this battle that Gary and Packer, I believe, have penalties. I'm not sure about Slash, so can you please run us through it there, see what the situation is up at the front?
Actually looked in a bit at Jordy's retired in pit lane, unfortunately for him, but I looked at a lap ago actually, and Slash did not have a penalty at that point in time. Gary and Packer still do, so Slash is in the main position here for a race win, as Maledictus is getting past Dylan here, still side by side there. I don't know, Maledictus has left the session again.
Yeah.
His connection may have collapsed a bit there, but in the meantime we have the lead battle still here. Slash onto the back of Packer. Is he close enough? It does look like Packer has the better exit out of them all. Bit of an overtake engaged for the Alfa Romeos. 210s. Is he going to go for a move here? Gate overtake even more, and he's going to go for the move on to IRO Packer now towards the inside. Is he close enough? It doesn't look like it. Packer
he's going for it!
Slash with the dive down the inside in turn 1. Packer gives enough space. Still side by side there, holding the last Gary to get away, but Slash has got traction on those hard tires. Still side by side for the curve break from the. Is the Alfa Romeo going to be able to hang on? Packer has more ERS, so he'll nudge back in front, and does look like have the favourable position. Cut Slash a little bit off, but I think it was just about fine there and hold into position, but now he has to push to maintain the gap with Gary.
Packer fighting tooth and nail for that. There was such a late move from Slash. He saw it coming and was able to just about hang on to it. Slash is overtaking a attempt, unsuccessful, and he's very low now in ERS. He has the advantage, of course, of not having a penalty, but that can all change. We're going to see if he can try and hang on to things there. So Gary has a slightly larger lead, but 1 lap fresher tyres for Packer could well come back into. He's almost losing it going through Ascari. Wow, I have no clue how he's kept that on, but Packer was all over the road through Ascari and just about managed to keep the car pointing in the correct direction and maintaining that 2nd place there. All 3 of these guys, Gary's actually now in the most favourable position on ERS because of the guys behind battling away. Now you see Packer is derating at the end of this lap there. He's still though within 8 tenths. He can try and gather himself back up and move closer to Gary if the opportunity were to present itself. So at the moment there, Slash is overtaken the last lap, unsuccessful. Packer hanging on in there 2nd place, but if that ERS is disadvantage still holds up there, Gary can try and get away here. We'll see how it all unfolds. 7 tenths the gap up in the lead there. We'll see how that all unfolds. Packer trying to stay with it there. Gary trying to break away, but Slash may have the best position of all of them. He's the only one still without a penalty.
And Aston Martin, of course, I do think he had 2 warnings, so he's got to be careful with him. and not try and extend one more, because that could be Vital's back in the penalty there. So it's definitely not impossible to get a penalty in these last few laps. Packer getting a second penalty. I just saw it on the exit of Les Mathieu around wide, and that's going to basically kill his chances for the race win here. Dylan with the fastest lap in the meantime, just trying to get something out of his race this time. He's had a nightmare, as you mentioned before, but Packer is looking closer than ever to Gary, and he's going to push now, I think, and he wants to try to make the most of it and still try and get second place, or maybe even first if he can, but it's going to be a very difficult task.
We'll see if he can possibly try and get the first place on track. At least he is closer to Gary this time round there. Gary does a little bit more ERS, but Packer is going to be charging with vengeance, but ultimately cannot quite get up. Gary now has used the last as ERS reserved. All three of these guys now are completely limited on their energy management system, or that's not the correct abbreviation, but you know what I mean. The ERS is very low for all three of these guys, as Packer almost loses it there as he engaged the overtake. He's doing everything he can to try and get up to Gary and try and somehow salvage a top result from this race. Maybe a top 2 is still on the cards, but he has to go like hell, for lack of better words there. He still chases down Gary. The closest man on track at the moment is the one for the race. Gary still leads though. Packer trying to rein him in, but Slash, with the lack of penalties, as I've gone through before, still has the advantage. But if he gets one more warning, Gary is going to have the pound seat now in this race, as he now has a car between himself and Slash on track.
Yeah, it's definitely a advantage for the Irishman at the moment. 2.5 laps to go, and Packer is looking closer than ever to the Irishman. And fourth gear for Ascari. Let's see, can he get the exit? I don't think on the parabolic. He'll try it on the straight. Wobble on the exit there. And let's see if the American can get up into the lead very soon. 3/10 is the gap. Let's see if he can make a move down towards turn 1. It requires a really good exit out of the last corner. It does look like he has that. Gary has a better one though at the moment. Overtake enabled for both of them. All of them have under 15%, under 10% at the moment even. Which is quite insane to see. Is Packer close enough for the move? He is gaining, but not close enough. And he maintains him behind for now.
Packer just couldn't quite get through. I've noticed every lap Gary has been so good coming out of Parabolica, and that salvaged it. But he may well be under pressure here because Packer is trying to get up to him, but the overtake again coming in for Gary. Is he going to be enough though? Packer now back in the slipstream there. He's much closer this time, but just lifts off that throttle. He's not going to go for anything too crazy, and he still sits behind the Irishman. We have less than 2 laps to go here in Italy. Are the fortunes of this lead trio going to change hands? Slash at the moment looks like a potential race winner. You have to remember that the top 2 are going to be they're so limited on the tyres. They surely have next to nothing left. But who's going to win this one out on track as Packer's charging again towards Ascari, but again just lets off that throttle there. They're not going to make it side by side through there. Can Gary get a good last sector and pull away? Packer made a mistake, and now Slash is bearing down on him there, trying to get that move done. Packer now on the overtake. Has that cost him a chance though at attacking Gary, and he may have to lock down and defend for the final lap here at Monza. XL Gary leads the way. He nearly won this race in Division 2 last season. Will he win it again this season? Look at Slash the way he's closing down on Packer for second place. Now right in the death there, Packer comes towards the inside line, but Slash has found the gap. Here we go there for second place here. They both chase down on Gary. Who's going to come out of this one in front there? Dead inside goes Slash for second in the death. Yes, he gets up into P2, and he may well just hang on to it then. If he gets a penalty, he may well still have to try and get past Gary. How is this going to unfold then? Packer maybe desperate to try and possibly get through, but he's given up those 2 places in a matter of laps and cannot fight back. Heading into De La Roja, Slash has got more ground. He's got a penalty! Oh my word! This has changed this so dramatically. Gary may well be on for it, but we still have half a lap for him to hang on. Could this be the most dramatic ending there? Does Gary still have 3 seconds of penalties? I hope he does, and then we'll see if this can all change now as we head towards the line. Slash is desperate now. He may have thrown it away in the final lap. Can he get back up to him? Here we go. One more sector here at Monza. XL Gary narrowly holds the race leader by 2.5 of a second. There's nothing in it, but Gary gets a really good run coming out of Ascari, and now the overtake is on for both these drivers. They are desperate. They are charging. Who's going to come out of this one in front? Gary has one more corner to negotiate. A 3/10 of a second lead. Here we go now. Coming round the last corner. Gary's been so good through this corner all afternoon long. Can Slash possibly get to him to the line. 3/10 in it, but XL Gary crosses first and maintains it. What a conclusion, what an ending there. For 4th place is so tight as well. Baki will just hang on and actually jumps Packer in the end. He gets up onto the podium in remarkable circumstances. Slash though, what heartbreak for the Alpha. He looked to be in a winning position all race long, but at the end, penalty on the last lap, and Gary has came through with it, wins by less than 3/10 of a second. What an ending to this Monza race.
An amazing ending to that race, and that proved to be one of the best races of the season. A lot of chaos, and Gary coming out on top just about hangs on, and I said so, the penalties can still come on in the last few laps, and proves to be that yeah, Gary just comes out on top. Slash gets that penalty on the final lap through the second chicane there. And just to refer back to my prediction, second and third were right, just the winning position not.
That's better than most commentators do on a regular basis, so well done to you, Verstappen. But yeah, that was incredibly action-packed. XL Hardy gets driver of the day. He did actually make that strategy work very, very well, and ended up getting a solid haul of points from this race. Yes, I agree with you. They're one of the best races of the season. Maybe not as good as Britain, but that was certainly very action-packed and an amazing conclusion as well. So yes, in the end, XL Gary, of course, new to this division, demoted from Division 1, and he is proving his worth, and in this race, just about came through, withstood the pressure, and won this race by the narrowest of margins, and not even the closest finish we had this season, that's Bahrain, but still, that was quite an action-packed race. So Alfa Romeo double podium, well done to those drivers. They look to be a class of the field. In the end, Packer will be disappointed losing out on that 3rd place, but Aki though claims that he managed to do the race without a penalty. That's going to run good for him. I'll leave it to you, Verstappen, to take us through the results of that incredible race.
Yeah, so the podium is Gary, Slash and Baki. Packer just about missing out on 4/10 due to having 2 penalties, while Baki hasn't have any. Scuderisepp, Hardy and Zuidema all consistent drives, 5th, 6th and 7th respectively. Then we have Skyzy and 8th with the soft and medium strategy after the Intersperia. It's not really paying off, it seems. Rick, Niwaluigi, Spack and Ryan round out the top 10. Dylan with the fastest lap, but a dramatic race for the Red Bulls. And Maledictus unfortunately disconnecting and just not having a good race himself either. Jordi, Tinkan and Lando, unfortunately for them, not finishing and have to get away here with without any points.
Yeah, not the race that those guys were after. Certainly a lot of good drives amongst the top 6, 7 especially. They certainly made the strategy work. Of course, the one stop was the way to go. We saw that the guys that opted for the soft strategy really didn't go for them, but that was a very unique race because of the mix of tyre choices we had after that intermediate tyres. Really, after the intermediate stint at the start of the race, really made it intriguing. And in the end, XL Gary came out on top by, again, the narrowest of margins. Certainly he is going to be extremely pleased with that. Of course, the winner of D2 last season, I don't think he's going to be in the fight this season, but a race win, that's nothing to be sniffed at. And Gary the Irishman is going to come through, and he will claim the 25 points from the race. And we'll see if he can take that and try and move himself into a decent championship position. We know what Gary is capable of. We'll see if he can try and make it work as we get now into the final stretch of the season.
Yeah, definitely 6 races to go. Next week we have a break week, so for anyone watching and thinking, why there's not any League of Europe? Well, that's basically why. Yeah, well, after that we're going to Singapore, host to one of the greatest races of all time, LOE, I've got to say. Last season Division 2. That was a classic, and let's hope we're about the same, although that will be very tough to actually get.
Yeah, if you're not aware, last season's Singapore race was probably the greatest race I've ever had the privilege of commentating on. If you have the chance, please go back and watch it because it was incredible. Hopefully, of course, these drivers live up to a new field of Division 2 drivers. Has not disappointed us so far this season, and particularly in this Monza race. We'll see, of course, how things unfold in the final stage of the season. What an unpredictable season it's been then. You know, it's just been there's been no clear-cut winner, I'd say, throughout this. I mean, Rick has a decent lead in the championship, but really, if you watch the races, he has not been dominant at all and has really just been consistent. We'll see, of course, if that holds out as we enter the final third of the League of Europe Division 2 season. But I guess now, for this week, it is all said and done, and we will tune out in just a second. So, that's the final word then. I've been Zaka. He's Verstappen, and until next time, we'll see you later.